Hello everyone, welcome to the Time Rocker YouTube channel. How's everybody doing today? Today I'm going to be going through one of the matches I had against a pretty high level Morrigan player and explaining how I myself as a high level ranked Ryu goes about dealing with the current meta of the Morrigan and purple play that you see a lot with things like Jester being very prominent right now on the ladder as a way to deal with Ryu, and by just keeping his units on the board, not allowing him to remove anything. So I'm going to kind of go over through this to show you how I go about overcoming what essentially seems like a losing battle at the start, and explaining how I was able to get the win on this, and hopefully you learn a few tips along the way, and maybe level up your Ryu, and maybe on both ends as well, if you're also a purple or a Morrigan player, learn how to deal with some things. So let's go ahead and get this started here. So I'm starting off typical Ryu. I'm using here a Shinku Hadouken. Morrigan's using Dark Illusion, as she should. So I'm going to pause it here. Alright, as you can see in my hand right now, I have a Overdrive Ostrich, which is a rush card. Pretty useful against Morrigan to remove a card quickly if I need to. So definitely useful card. I have a Sneak Attack here, again useful card, and I'll show you why here in a little bit. Volvidon, he can be useful, but also not be too good. At the same time, he could just clutter my field here, and I may not want him. For a spare, generally speaking, not too good against Morrigan. Doesn't really have a lot of value. Doesn't help in taking out most of the units because they want to keep that card. Just isn't so useful, and it's because its cost is so low. Doesn't offer much. Lady here though is a very key important card in this matchup. A Ryu versus Morrigan, very, very important card to get in your hand if possible, along with BB Hood and Laggy Cruise, both which do damage on play. So let's go ahead and continue the match here. So as you can see right now, neither of us are playing anything. We're just letting our MP down here at the bottom build up, because there's absolutely no reason for either of us to play. So what I'm going to end up doing here is, I know the Morrigan wants to drop a card here at 10 MP, so I need to be aware of that. So I go ahead and use a Sneak Attack, and the reason for this is I need to max out my MP down here, or AP, sorry, down here at the bottom left as fast as I can, because I need to get to this Shinku Hadouken as fast as I can, or otherwise I know this Morrigan may either drop a Jester or another card like a Ibuki or anything that she's going to want to haste or just buff the heck out of with the Resonate ability, and I need to have something to deal with that as quickly as I can. But I don't need it at the moment. It's not an emergency, because I have a Lady in hand, which will remove even a single resonated Ibuki or Shenko. So extremely useful to have this in my hand, and I will just hold on to it for now. But the reason why I use the Sneak Attack, and when I was playing, I actually used it right before I hit the 10 spot, because I know Morrigan probably wants to play right when they hit 10. So I go a tiny bit beforehand. This way Morrigan doesn't get a free Resonate or a free Gargoyle to pop out for a Jester of some kind here, if whatever they drop. So I can see here Morrigan at this point in the game, I don't know why this isn't right. Morrigan should actually have more than 5 MP, so it's a little confusing that that's what it says. She should actually be at max, so it's a little strange that that's what it shows up there. So we'll just continue this, and that gives me 3 AP down here, again very important. And here it goes. This is where it starts to begin. So Morrigan here starts off with the Jester, and instantly before I can even react, and I was actually holding Lady over the field at this point to make sure I could drop her if I needed to, as soon as I can to try to remove Jester, she puts a Devil Trigger right on the Jester, which is a very, very smart move and a really good card to pull at the very beginning of the game, because what this is going to do, it's going to give Jester not only flight but agility. So the Jester is basically going to be very hard to touch, because he's just going to keep flying over my units, keep hitting my face, and he's going to do it in a very, very fast manner. And right now, it's not looking too good for me. I have a Lady, and he has a Gargoyle and a Jester on the field. Well, Lady does a 6 damage split, so I can't kill the Jester no matter what. And had they played Jester with nothing, I would have dropped Lady, and then I would have dropped the Overdrive Ostrich here to remove the Jester. However, that was not an option given to me at this point because of how quick they were at dropping the Devil Trigger. So right now, I don't really have much of a choice. I don't have any action cards in my hand. Again, I don't really want to use them. So what I do here is I go ahead and I drop the lady in the center spot. Now, the reason why I drop the ladies in the center spot is because I know if I put lady here, the lady's going to get stuck, right? I need to try to actually remove this card down at the bottom, and I need to hit it as fast as I can. And if any unit that is hitting it, I need to try to get to die as well. Now, the reason why I want units to die in this matchup is very, very important. If units stay on the field here, and here, and here, all three positions, what does that end up doing? Well, that ends up hoarding my board, and I can't, and if I have nothing but units in my hand, I can no longer play them, which means I can no longer gain AP to get Shinku Hadouken out, which is a very key ability, because even if I'm able to clear this up, if I can't get to Shinku in a decent time, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. So I played the lady in the middle because I know it's currently uncontested. Now, this was kind of an iffy play here. I decided to play a Volvidon up top so I could just get the card out there ASAP. Now, the reason why I played the Volvidon here was because I knew that this lady, what lady did was she did 3 damage to the Gargoyle and 3 damage to the Jester. Not optimal. I would have wanted at least 4 damage to the Jester, so that way 2 hits would remove it, so I could have dropped, say, pretty much any card in front of it, and 2 hits would have taken it out. But unfortunately, that did not happen, so I had to improvise here. So I dropped the Volvidon in front of the Gargoyle up top. Reasoning for this is I figured, well, Volvidon's ability, which does 2 damage to another enemy if it kills an enemy on victory. So I was hoping, well, this is my best bet. I'm going to go ahead and probably I'm going to be able to kill this Gargoyle and survive, and hopefully, if I can, get 2 damage here on the Jester, which will basically be as if I had put a unit in front of it and hit it. So she goes ahead and uses slow, or a halt here, which is pretty much what they want to keep doing the whole game, because they want to make it so that way I am not able to do anything. So I know here, I don't really have any options. I need 5 AP. Well, I don't have any cards in my hand. Unfortunately, they get me up to the 5. So I just need to get a card out to start doing damage. We go ahead and clash up here up top. And so I do 2 damage. But unfortunately, the 2 damage I do is to the middle Gargoyle, which is not what I wanted. So that puts me in a bad spot. Yeah, I can remove this Gargoyle, but another one can just take its place like you're seeing up top right now. So that was kind of unfortunate. Was not what I was hoping for, and that will hurt me. Coming up here. Go ahead, and she keeps continuing to halt my units. And I decide to play guy at the bottom. Now, I finally pulled a BB Hood. However, this is where I was explaining about your board being filled here. Here's the problem. I have a filled board. I have a 2-9 lady. So I know lady's not dying anytime soon. I have a 2-3 Volvidon, which, again, it's going to at least take 2 hits to die. And I have a guy, which is at least going to take another 2 hits to die. So I'm kind of in a predicament where I have a lot of time, and so does this Morrigan, in order to just remove cards. And if Morrigan's smart, she won't actually use her Dark Illusion ability to remove my units. So we'll continue and see how this goes. So my lady go ahead and takes out the Gargoyle there, but like clockwork, gets another one out on the field. But now this was an interesting choice. She decides to halt the lady, which I'm not understanding quite the idea behind that timing. Now, if we scoot back here a tiny bit, we can see before this attack goes off. So I remove the card. Look at where lady's attack bar is compared to, say, Guy and Volvidon. So right here, let me scoot back a tiny bit. It doesn't want to be nice. So right here is about where they halt me. So Volvidon's going to hit a tiny bit before Guy, and then Guy's going to hit right after. Well, the main thing is they need to keep the Jester on the field. So for some strange reason, this is actually a lucky play for me. They decided to halt my lady in the center. I don't know why, but that actually helps because lady has so much health, they don't even have to worry about her dying. So that shouldn't even be a priority. They should worry about one of these 2 cards here dying because I want them to die. That is my current goal because if they die, I can either play BB Hood or a Ostrich, whichever I want in this situation. So they make a very interesting choice there, which actually benefits me slightly, but it does benefit me and helps me gain a little bit because now I know that they're not able to do anything to my other units and stop them from hitting. So I have 1 health left on the Jester, and this is where it's really good for me. So because I did not make an action on that last halt that they used, I know now that one of these cards, regardless, is going to hit one of these cards here, and I'm going to take it out. It doesn't matter which one. So I'm assuming they're probably going to end up halting my guy, which is end up what's happening because they want to keep the Jester alive. So last second halt, which is what should have been done. Now you can see right now I'm in a kind of a low to hurt right now. I have 6 HP. The only thing I've dealt to them was my one sneak attack at the very beginning of the match. Other than that, I have taken maximum amount of damage, and I am right on the cusp of losing this match very, very quickly without being able to really have any chances to do anything. So this was a key option here. Finally, my Volvidon is able to get removed off the field, leaving a board space open. So that's exactly what I needed, and I was preparing for that exact moment. I know because they had just used slow up here. If we go and check, let's find it here. It would like to move, thank you. So I know when they use this halt, they used a dark halt here, or dark hold, which is going to do 3. I know they have an extra 2 MP, just like I have right here. And that means they only have 2 MP available to them. Now, if they don't have anything to stop this card, which ends up not being the case, that means, luckily, they didn't have the card in their hand. That's because they kept halting the whole game. So likely, they probably have units in their hand at this point that is kind of clogging their hand up, but they can't play them because then you kind of lose the value of Jester here. So I go ahead and play BB Hood as soon as I can. Now I had an 80% chance here to remove that Jester because it only had 1 health. So as long as I did 1 damage to that Jester, that's all I needed. I could do 3 here. I could do 3, 4 here. As long as I did not do just 4 to the Gargoyle, I'm in a good position because I don't want to have to deal with more Gargoyles on the field. And with this guy having Darkhold, that Jester's just going to continue to fly over me and he keep hitting face. And that's not what I want to deal with. So now I have 3 cards on the board and a Shinko Hadouken ready to go. And this is a prime position for me because I can hold that Shinko Hadouken now in order to remove any unit, nearly any unit they could possibly play, including a Jester. So I can just be patient here and wait. And again, I can see up here, they play that card. They have 3 MP because of that extra 2 MP boost. That means they're not going to be able to play a card except for an Ibuki, not for quite some time. Now, I think up here it's a little wrong. I don't think it's right. So this is probably more accurate. I don't know what's up in the MP timings, but they go, because this card cost 7 and it said they had 4 or 5 last time, so it makes no sense they got it that quick. Anyway, they go ahead and use a very interesting card. I don't know why. Maybe they had no units, but they went ahead and used mind control, or sorry, brainwash, use of that Hearthstone tech. And really nice here, worked really well. They take the BB Hood. I am completely okay with this. Again, the reason why is because I want to play cards. I want to get AP building. Even if I have to use the Shinko Hadouken, I need to get as much AP built up again as I possibly can. So this was a really nice play. So that BB Hood ends up killing my guy that runs into it. So now I'm in a prime position to finally get rid of one of these stupid 3/4 spares, which, like I said, in this matchup has no use. Now, the reason why I don't play a guy here or an Overdrive Ostrich is because I actually want my card to die. So this trades equally, so I know I can remove the BB Hood here, and my 4 spare will die, leaving me 2 spaces open, which will allow me to play another card. Now they go ahead and halt me here. Again, they have enough MP to play what they need. And again, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to sit and do absolutely nothing. And this Morrigan is playing smart by not using Dark Illusion because they know I need to put cards on the field, and by removing cards on the field, it allows me to build AP. So they're doing the right thing on their end by not killing my cards, even though they're halting them. That's the correct move to do as a Morrigan player. So I currently have a BB Hood in hand, and I know I want to play that BB Hood as soon as I can. Obviously, I have no way to know exactly when they're gonna play. They play a hook shot there. I'm able to play my BB Hood ASAP, which was really nice. So my BB Hood did exactly 2 split. All I needed to do was 1 damage here to the Jester. That's all I needed. Nothing more, because the Jester has 8 health. Shinko Hadouken does 7. As long as I can do 1, again, 80% chance to do that 1 damage. That's all I needed. So good odds were in my favor in that sense. She go ahead and plays a card there to lower my attack by 1. Really not useful in this sense, but she wants to get a Gargoyle out using Resonate, which makes sense. Now, in this situation, I'm finally able to use my Shinko Hadouken. And this is where I'm finally able to get a little pull ahead here. So they go ahead and they use a, I went ahead and used a chain fire. Now the reasoning for this is because if we back up a tad here, let's see how far we can go. Let's find it. So if I look here, you can see the bar on my Overdrive Ostrich is ahead of this Gargoyle, and this Gargoyle is at 2 health. So I know my Overdrive Ostrich is going to hit this Gargoyle before anything happens, right? So I know that's a big, big play right there to be able to take this unit out. And with no Jester on the field left, there's no way for them to get another Gargoyle, and they're going to be down with very close to almost no mana, which is very key because I need to keep units off the field. I also used a chain fire here for multiple reasons. So a couple reasons here. So I use a chain fire to not only remove the Gargoyle, the chain fire also gives me full AP so I can use Shinkaduken again, as well as if they want to stop this ability from removing this Gargoyle, they can't slow one of my units, right? So they would, optimally, they'd probably like to either slow my BB Hood, or they'd like to, halt my BB Hood or my Ostrich from killing this Gargoyle. However, by doing so, they're going to have to sacrifice this Gargoyle here. So this kind of puts them in a predicament where, well, if you want to stop the Gargoyle from dying, you're going to have to use a hidden intent, most likely because most Morgans don't run anything else. Well, what that's going to do, it's actually going to drop her HP down to my levels, which is, again, in my advantage because my BB Hood is going to be hitting again, my Overdrive Ostrich here is going to hit face to this Gargoyle and remove it before the Gargoyle can act. And the only thing she's going to have on the field is this Gargoyle. So I'm going to at least get a good 4 damage in here and leave her with 1 health. And she's only going to have a Gargoyle on the field. I also have a Shinkaduken ready to go. So at any moment, as long as I pay attention to her mana, I can just remove her unit and I will have 3 units on the board. And I just need to deal 1 more damage to remove this to win the game, essentially. So, chain fire, luckily I got that at around the time I needed it and was able to play it. So like I was showing here, I went ahead and ended up removing the Gargoyle before it could do anything. And now I have a full board about to come in for the win. And Morrigan clearly doesn't have anything because even if she halts, she's not going to be able to get a unit out onto the field. So it's very important there. So as you can see right there, I was very, very much behind for about 95 I wouldn't say 95, probably about 80% of that match. But I was able to come back by playing calmly, being patient, knowing what I needed to do in that game plan, which as a Ryu, you really need to know what you need to do against each matchup because every little action you do is very important. Playing a Ryu is all about reactions and knowing what your odds are in a certain matchup in a certain situation. So every time I did something, it was calculated. I knew what I was doing, what needed to be done in order to get ahead, to remove a card that was imposing a threat on me, anything that was done. So for instance, many times if you're against a Morrigan, if you get a Shinkaduken, just hold it. Don't use it. Don't get rid of something silly. You know it does 7 damage, right? So if they play, say, something like Ibuki, and if they don't resonate that Ibuki, go ahead and let that happen. Wait until they resonate it and then remove it. Let them use a card and then remove it from the field. By doing so, not only are you making them use more mana, which means that's another unit they're going to have to take an extra 5 to 10 seconds to play. That's also a card they're no longer going to be able to use to resonate, which means that it also may lock their hand up later on. And so it just gives you even more an advantage. So a lot of Ryu is also being patient. There's a few matchups where you do want to be aggressive, such as the Wesker matchup, and that's Wesker, and I guess anything that plays Revenge, you need to be aggressive because once Revenge starts to kick in, Ryu really just does not stand much of a chance once the Revenge units start getting onto the field. It's very, very rare to win those matchups. So anyway, guys, that's it for this match. Hope you learned some things. Again, my name's Time Rocker. You can check out my Twitch channel. You can see that below. Hit me up on Twitter or the Discord, any of that fun stuff. I'm more than welcome. I stream about every night, TEPPEN every day, so if you want to come by, learn some stuff, you need some help with your deck, just come on by, and I'll be happy to help you, and I'll see you next time.